and welcome back to Wendy's Colouring. Today I'm having a look at some new goodies that have been sent to me. So Ohuhu have sent me these Poupée coloured markers, water-based ink, vibrant colours, paper durability ensured, non-toxic, and they are saying they're paper friendly. They're brush and fine liner, and they do come in this lovely case. So yeah, I really quite like. So yeah, 60 in here. I really like this artist's work as well. I've been scouring the info that comes with them, but they don't say whose this artist's work is. But I quite like the little style of it. I think it's quite cute. Yeah, so I thought we'd have a look at them. Obviously, quite a few people have had these already. Lily from Art Journey being one. She has done extensive testing on these markers, which I am not going to attempt at all. I don't actually have very many water-based markers, so these were quite interesting to me because of that. If you quick look at them. So yeah, we've got 60. I quite like the colour mixes in here. We've got two little sections, got one fold out, and then obviously the ones on the base. And I quite like the little colour palette that's in here. They've sent a printed colour swatch, and I have, because I couldn't resist myself, I've already done the little swatch card to have a play with them. Yeah, I quite like them. I think it's quite a nice, vivid, bright palette. And the water-based markers that I have already, my Tombos and my Lyras, those are mainly pastels that I have. So actually it's dropped quite lucky for me really, in that these are obviously a bit more jewel, kind of bright tones that are in here. Not sure what this is, some kind of warning thing that we'll skip for now. But yeah, the pens, I'm sure you've probably seen more of these than I have. Like I say, I don't have any of the Ohuhu water-based markers at all. So it's got obviously the brand water-based markers. We've got brush and fine liner, which I really like. And then we've got, oh hello, it's decided to defocus. Got a little sticker with the number and the colour on, which also really handy. And then obviously paper friendly and conforms to some bizarre code that I have no understanding of the meaning of. Brush is, yeah, quite a nice sized brush. And then the other side is a nice fine liner point, which is really, I find it really, really useful. And I'd much rather have that than those kind of bullet nibby things. Fine liner I will use far more. Gives you such great control, doesn't it? And then obviously I love having a brush for colouring with as well. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with them. But like I say, I don't have a huge amount. The only other ones I have, let me grab a tray of them, is I have some of, I'm knocking my light, never a good mate. I have some of those ones, and then I put my other ones, and then I have, let me get a couple out of the container because there's no way they're gonna fit. I have some of these very cheap ones. I can't even remember what these brand was, but yeah, some, you know, white branded thing. I've got a lot of colours in these, but I hate these in the main. They always are very streaky. The colours are nice. They could have been nice, but they feel so cheap that I find myself unable to use them. So if I get one of these out, so I've got let's pick a colour that we can actually see. That might make sense, might it? So if I pick an orange Lyra out, and have I got an orange Tombow? Orange-ish Tombow. Let's pick one of those out. Because I was curious about what the difference is when you're layering these up. Obviously they're saying paper friendly. As I said, Lily's done about 1 million tests on this subject, so she's probably in a much better place than me to show you her tests and all of that, head on over to Art Journey if you want to see more comprehensive tests, because I am not going to go down there. But I thought I would be interested to see what it's like in the paper that we use a lot. So obviously Amazon printed paper we use a lot. This is one I've had a couple of years, Camilla Ranchikova 50 Winter Miniatures, and I was thinking they always have some spare paper at the back, of which it does. I'm going to put something behind it though, because it probably is going to go through, I think, because I'm going to put a lot in. Let's just bring a piece of that behind. Okay, so I thought I'd see how these compare in terms of layering these together and what they're doing into the paper, just on an Amazon paper. This is, well, I'm sure you know what it's like, but this does have quite a lot of texture, this Camilla Ranchikova paper. It's not the worst of the Amazon papers, but yeah, it doesn't behave well with water-based stuff, does it? Let's get you in a bit more looking at it. So it might be a disaster, it might be okay, we'll see. But I thought we'll see how many wet layers we get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see it's already starting to take the surface off. So I would say my Tombow had about 6, and that was being generous, I think, if I'm honest. My Lyra doesn't want to focus on that, sorry. Let's have a go. I'd say 7, and I can feel the surfaces ripping. 8's got some actual bits on it. I am pressing reasonably firmly on it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can kind of feel it now. 13, 14, 15. Still not doing too badly. 16. 17, 18, 19. I'm quite surprised at this point. 20. It has damaged the surface. Like, I can brush some tiny micro bits off, but nowhere near as soon. I was quite surprised with my Tombow, actually. That one lasted nowhere near as long. So I would say, I would say I got maybe to 14 there before. If I was actually working on a page and I think, oh, I don't want to go any further there, I could at this point, let's brush the bits off. Have I got my little brush? Forget the worst of the actual, those are proper stuck on the Tombow ones, they're not going to come off. Like, I wouldn't colour on it now because the paper's too wet, but still bits coming off my Tombow one. I could probably still work over this one a little bit. There are little bits. I don't know how much closer I can get you without it showing. I've got a bit more light on, does that help? But definitely I think you can layer these a little bit more. Are they still going to destroy your paper? Of course they are. Paper is a water-based manufacturing process. You use paper to use water to make paper. So obviously a water-based pen is naturally gonna deconstruct the paper because you're softening the fibres, and the fibres open up again and they're gonna come loose. That's just the nature of these kind of pens. I don't think you can really avoid that too much. They definitely were performing better than my Tombows on there. That was quite quick with the Tombows. I was quite surprised, actually. Lyra seems to do a little bit better. That did a lot better. I think I would have stopped on all of those, considerably earlier if it was actually on a colouring page. I don't think there's going to be much that I want to colour in orange on this page. Oh, we can ruin a bit. Let's ruin a page. But yeah, I was curious to see how well these actually do. Obviously, we don't really want orange berries, but I also was wanting to know how smooth or streaky they would be. Obviously it's never going to be as smooth as an alcohol marker, but obviously you could put another layer on over the top, so maybe that will give you a bit more of an opportunity to get it a bit smoother. I'm going to go in the opposite direction and see what I think. Concentration. And that's me. Paper friendly poupée. Not sure that was the best choice of name, but you know. This is my Tombow. Let's just have a look. Oh, this is quite red actually rather than orange, isn't it? I'm looking at it. This nib is scraping a little bit, bizarrely. We'll do two. You hear that horrible noise? Is it doing that? Hardly used some of these Tombows. They've got no excuse. Oh, that's annoying. I don't think they like this paper. Well, I'm going to say at the moment this looks more even than that, but maybe because that's a darker colour. We'll give it a minute to dry out and we'll see. Definitely requires a bit more concentration than if I was just whipping over with an alcohol marker. Obviously in a book like this, probably I would use an alcohol marker over the water-based because it's single-sided, isn't it? So why wouldn't you? But I do have a lot of books that are a bit more expensive, and definitely being able to use some kind of water-based pen but that works a bit more evenly is important to me. Actually, I'm quite surprised at the difference between those. So those are my Tombow and my Lyra, and there is those paper friendly ones that I've literally just used, and actually I'm quite surprised how even that is. They both had 2 coats. Admittedly that's had a little bit more drying time, but that's had quite a bit of drying time as well. I'm thinking these will have gone through, which they have. This obviously is not great paper, so that doesn't surprise me a huge amount. But yeah, I do quite like these. And I much prefer this kind of fine liner end instead of these kind of felt tippy ends. I don't like these ends. And I think the Tombow has the same, doesn't it? Like a felt tip pen end. I'd rather have a fine liner. I think that's the best of both worlds, a brush and fine liner. You've got the depth for a brush and the precision for a fine liner. Okay, so I thought I would have a go. Okay, so I was curious to see how it might work on this paper. Obviously this is double-sided. Might just be wrecking my book, but we'll see. What's on the back? Is it something I'm going to be bothered with? Town Hall. It's not the most exciting of pages, is it? So I'm going to say if it goes through, I don't think I'm too bothered. But I don't want to wreck the whole book, so we will put something behind it. Perhaps take out my page markers because... Ooh, easier said than done. Because we don't need those in there making a print. That's it. So, let me get rid of them out of the way. I can go back in the drawer. So yeah, I was thinking, you might have noticed in my finished pages for October, I worked in the autumn one of these books. And whilst I loved working in the book, oh, the backgrounds took me so long. So long. So, I thought actually these could be the answers to my prayers. If these are going to work as a nice kind of background without, well, hopefully without going through, but we'll see. If it goes through, it goes through, doesn't it? This is quite smooth, reasonably thick paper, but not the thickest paper. It is a cheap book. I think these are £4. in the works if you want this book at the moment in the UK. I think you can get them on Amazon though if you're elsewhere in the world. But I thought it'd be quite nice to just speed up this process because it took me so long last time. So possibly I'm going to pick some lighter colours anyway, just as a base down. And I think in the main that's how I'm probably going to use a lot of these, as base colours. Let's zoom you out a little bit so I can see what we're doing. So I'm thinking I've got quite a lot of buildings, but then I've got nice little windows that I want a backdrop, and then I've got a bit of brick. So I think I just want some kind of light stone colours, which I'm thinking that one, fruit pink, which must be that one because it's next to a green. Is it that one? Yes, that one. So I'm thinking that might be quite handy. And then for the brick, something light for the brick that's a different colour. So I've got that one. I'm thinking potato brown would also be handy. So I've got these turned around so I can't helpfully see the actual labels. Or maybe that powder pink. No, I think we'll go potato brown. That's a little bit darker, but which one is it? I think I will at some point turn these all the way around so I can see the colours. That one. But they look so nice in the way that they came, so I haven't changed them. So I'm thinking at base of these, if I can get it in, we'll do a little bit. I'll maybe do this middle bit of the window here. And then, oh, that brick's not on that page. That brick's on the page behind. This page is smaller. Oh, I've got brick at the bottom there. Oh, you can't see the bottom. Helps if you can see, doesn't it? But we'll try this one on this background. Obviously, I don't want it super streaky, so there's perhaps a learning curve in here. Let's put that underneath just in case. And we'll see how we go. But I'm hoping that these will speed up my process in some of these books, especially ones like this where they've got quite a lot of background, and as much as I enjoy the details on these pages, the sorry, little bit of a detail bit, can't talk and think at the same time. Yeah, as much as the details I enjoy, I did not enjoy the backgrounds and how long they took me, and I kind of run out of patience with some of the details when a background's taken me so long to do. So if these work and they don't go through, I'll be delighted. Dare I look? Oh, so far, so good. This is a light colour. We'll try a little bit of a darker colour at some point. And it's kind of nice knowing it's not going to cause me too much paper damage, especially if I just keep it to one coat. We'll see what I think about the colour once we've got it all in. Obviously this is the fiddly bit. By the little Christmas details. Feel like the paper surface does still feel quite smooth. So like I will want to add, you know, a bit of tone and texture onto this. Shadow certainly behind where all this kind of Christmas bits and pieces are. Probably where these little mouldings are as well where I am. So I'm still feeling that should be fine and it's not changing the paper characteristics too much. Because it's not always about whether it's just going to shed and ruin it, is it? Sometimes it's just going to change that surface so that it means that when I colour over or work over, it's going to look different in the bits where your base has been. So yeah, I think I'd still like a set that are really kind of soft and light in this makeup, this paper friendly. type of markers, because I will use those an awful lot for backgrounds where you just want a bit of a base colour on. It's a nice little brush as well on this, I'm able to get in without having to swap to the fine liner, but I could swap to the fine liner if you don't find the tip of a brush working for you too well. If you're a bit more heavy-handed, sometimes you do need the fine liner, don't you? It's like scan out the lines. I don't know whether straight lines are the best idea or whether doing those, you know, repeated kind of circles to avoid getting marks. Maybe I need to experiment. Okay, that was pretty painless, wasn't it? Let's have a double check how much has gone through. None's gone through. Okay, that's quite pretty good. So I'm going to put a base of that slightly darker, was it potato? Yeah, potato. Potato colour on this bit of wall. Then I've got these, I might do these pillars the same colour. Possibly put that same base over the top later, but we won't do it all on camera because once you've seen me colouring a little bit, you've seen it, haven't you? Particularly when you're just putting a base on, it's not particularly exciting to look at, is it? It's important, it's really useful, it'll speed up my process loads, but not necessarily particularly exciting to watch. Try not to ruin this little cat. Although I'm thinking I might do him a little black cat. Although he's kind of flying in the bricks there. He's sat down, but he's in the air. Do you see? His bum should have been further down. This dog is also flying. Or have I coloured the I think I've coloured the pavement in, haven't I? That's what I've done. Dope. That's not a row of bricks, is it? That's the pavement. Okay, so that's an excuse to use a darker colour in a minute. We'll see whether it goes through if I use something much darker. I suspect they may do, but we'll see. I think we're paying off it being a bit more even with a bit more ability to go through. But I quite like how, considering that's water-based, that's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to do this pavement row, something a bit darker. I don't know who's sawing. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to shut the window anyway. So we've got it next to that colour, haven't we? So maybe that one, 52 henna. Let's find that. It's next to two lighter ones. Creamy peach henna. Yeah. Like I said, later on I will swap them all around so that I can actually see what they're called. So this is a little bit darker, and obviously this is a second layer. I think I want a bit darker near them anyway, like they're casting a bit of a shadow. Has it gone through? Got a little bit ghosting, but not bad. Nothing that would worry me. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. So, what have I got? I've got window, I've got some woodwork. I'm thinking all this top bit, I want this same colour. And possibly a little bit of this panelling. We'll see. Okay, I think you kind of get the point, don't you? That I think they do seem to sit a little bit smoother on the paper. It's not. I mean, it's not alcohol marker smooth, as you can see. I think that colour's actually a little bit smoother than the lighter one. But I think they're quite useful in a colouring book to do a good base down on them. I think that's also really useful. The other way that I have been using them, in fact I won't put them away because I won't know what colours they are later. The other way I have been using them is for the fine liners for my journal. So yeah, I've just restarted this journal again, and I must admit, as soon as I opened these I thought, ooh, they look perfect for my journal. Fine liners and a brush, perfect. So I have done a fair bit in my journal with them. So all the written bits, all the drawn bits I've done with this set. This paper is super, like you can see through it already. It's super thin, so they were going to ghost through this paper. I quite like the texture of this paper. It feels nice to work on, but all my pens, every single band I've ever used in this book go through, so that's nothing unusual. But yeah, I've drawn out, because obviously you've got this nice fine liner. I could put it through my stencils quite easily. You can write with it quite easily. Then when you want to just block a bit of colour in with the brush, you can do that. They're perfect for that. I really liked the colour arrangements in these, meant that when I'd pick this kind of stripy brown out, I had actually quite a nice selection of colours that I could have put in with this section. So obviously I've drawn out my calendar, I've drawn out all of these with my pens, obviously I've got stickers and things going on. I've drawn out all of these bits in preparation for my pages. I've had a lot of problems with the paper in this book. It is literally falling apart. But yeah, you can see how much is ghosted a little bit, but I'm not bothered about the ghosting so much. I think it kind of goes with the territory of a journal. If you're going to pick a journal that's got, you know, the thin paper, so that when you shut your journal it doesn't end up being like, you know, really thick, that's the payoff, isn't it, that you're going to get ghosting from your pens. But I really liked how controllable they were. They were nice to write with, they're nice to work through with the stencils, they were nice to draw with. Yeah, I've enjoyed this set. It wasn't something that I knew I wanted, I think that's what I'll say. But now I've got it, I can see me using this set an awful lot. I can use it in my colouring. I will continue to use it in my journal all the time, I think, because it's just handy having it in this nice case. The case is really nice, feels nice and solid. It's got that chuck it in the bag. It's not a massive set, so it's quite light to carry. And yeah, I like the brushes and I like the tips in them. I haven't got a huge amount to compare them to. Probably if you've got loads of water-based pens, you need to think whether there's advantage in moving up to these ones. But yeah, I think they feel really nice in the hand. They don't feel cheap. They feel like a nice marker to use and to put away and to store. And I really quite like the dual palette that's in them. So yeah, I'm really pleased to have got these. I'll put the links in below. These are fairly new, so you may have to go to the Ohuhu website to spot them. I don't know if they're on Amazon yet, but yeah, I do like them. I think they seem like they're a little bit smoother on the surface when you're working in the books, whether it be in rubbish paper like this. In fact, let's see how those two have dried while we've got it handy. See, that still looks much smoother to me than either of those two. Lighting's not brilliant, but those still look quite streaky to me, whereas that's if I didn't know better, I'd have said that was an alcohol marker, but it has obviously gone through, so depending on the paper you will have to do some experiments to see, and it's gone through more than they have. So yeah, some advantages, some disadvantages, depending on what you're trying to do with them. But yeah, I've been really pleased with them. So many thanks to Ohuhu for sending these to me. It's been a really interesting adventure trying them out. They will be in consistent use in my journal because, like I say, I've just enjoyed using them, doing all of this the other day, and I shall continue to do that. But yeah, the Ohuhu new Poupée paper friendly colouring markers, I like them. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was interesting to you. Bye bye.